How many millionaires do you think are there in the world? According to the credit science, there are 46 million millionaires worldwide with a total net worth of the $156 trillion. That's almost half of the world's entire wealth. From one side, it seems like it's so difficult to become a millionaire today that only the handful numbers of the people become one. But for the other sides, when you have almost 47 million millionaires, it seems like it's not that difficult to become one, especially when 18 millions of them are in the US. But it's not easy to spot them because they aren't lead to the super luxury lives. But they have the financial stability to live comfortably. So here in this video we are going to find out what are the seven non-obvious signs that someone is rich. There are the deal breaker trios. If you don't have them, you should work on getting them. Understanding according to the business world and the stocks market, all standings on the shoulders of the accounting. Without having a deep understanding of the accounting, you can't really manage money well. The first signs of the someone is the wealthy or not. On the way to become is they understanding the accounting. They don't necessarily have to know every detail, but they have to general idea about everything. They know how to read balance sheets, incomes statements, cash flow statements. They know how to analyze the financial statements and figure out if the company is on the right track. You can come up with the best business idea ever, but if you lack accounting skills, you will not be able to turn it into the profitable business. History is filled with the great innovators, but they couldn't profit from them because they lacked business skills, and accounting is the heart of it. Of course, you can hire accountants to do the job for you, but without personal knowledge, you can't make the right decisions to drive company in the right directions. Second, the ability to delay gratifications. This is probably the most important trait in this list, and we have made the entire video on it previously. When you grow up in the low income family with the non-thought of your own, what often happens is that you can't think long term because it's difficult to focus to achieving something great. In 10 years, when you're something great in the 10 years, when you're struggling to put food on your table. When you grow up on your concern is fulfill your daily needs, that mentality will become the part of you. Instead of the saving money to invest, for example, you're in Dogo, in sweets and entertainment, and you aren't confident that you can't get that tomorrow. Because when you were a kid, your parents promised you to buy sweets, for example, but didn't often deliver out of the financial necessity. Instead of the investing in yourself or spending the few years building the businesses you decide on the settle on the low paying jobs. There is the great book of the scarcity. Why having too little means so much. Delaying gratifications also means being disciplined. Nothing meaningful can be built overnight. When you want to become the CEO of the company you are working at, or successful author or the entrepreneur, you need years of the constant work and dedications, no matter how talented are you. 3. They focus on the earning more than savings. No one ever got rich just by savings. Not to say that it's not important, because I'm a big believer in the savings. And I do save some of my incomes, but there's always a limit to how much you can save. At the end of the day, you have to spend money to cover your basic needs, such as shelter, on food, since you are the human beings. You want to entertain yourself and have the comfortable. That's why if you just focus on the savings, you probably won't go far. That's why it makes more sense to focus on the increasing your income at all the time. If you have a job, that's almost impossible because all you can hope is for the 5% raises annually. That's trying looking for the other streams of the income, so to do something online. Put your money to work, let it generate income for your Next, beauty pays wells. It was a little skeptical about this until I read the book Beauty Pays. Why attractive people are more successful. If you think about it, we naturally love to deal with the more attractive people. I am not just talking about the opposite gender, but other role in the general. We often criticize celebrities who have done the face surgeries to look more attractive, and yet millions of the people follow them after they have done that. This making them wealthier. That's not to say that every attractive person is rich, but attractive people are average. Earn more, and multiple studies have shown that the better looking men and had higher standing salaries and faster earnings growth if their first 10 years. For women, looks had a little effect on their standing salaries, but did more to their earnings growth in the long run. Some studies even indicated that the better looking people get lower interest rates. That's insane. If you're hiring the salesperson, for example, would you hire someone who would attract more customers, being attractive, and generate more sales, or someone who is less attractive and would attract fewer customers? Of course, not all professionals require the great looks such as the sales, modeling, or acting. But if you had two professionally equal options, most people would learn to hire a more attractive one. Of course, some people are lucky genetically and naturally look beautiful, but that doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. You can change your genes, but there's plenty of things you can do, such as dressing up you properly, fixing your hairs, grooming, exercising, hitting the gym regularly. You can make yourself look much more attractive than you imagine. Being good at socializing. We know that Facebook's made Zuckerberg one of the richest people in the world, but Sean Parker early on realized the opportunity to build a strong relationship with Zuckerberg and got the tiny small slice of Facebook, which today worth $2.7 billion. One thing that's certain about life is that you can't go far alone, no matter how hard you try. The world is built in such way that you need other people to achieve great things. Of course, sometimes you are so smart that no matter how terrible your social skills are, people still get around you because they see that they can gain something. But let's be honest, it isn't always like that. Most people aren't going to build the next Facebook or Microsoft. That's why the ability to build strong connections with others is the deal breaker. Let's say you have come up with the good business idea by the handed a big enough value connections. You can quickly turn it into the profitable business. Do you want to raise money for your businesses? Your paper is a great sales pitch. Do you want to get hired? Learn how to sell yourself. You want to make friends and surround yourself with charismatic, ambitious, and talented people. You should know how to talk to them in such way that they would love to connect with you. We can go on and talk about the importance of the social skills. But the point is that the better social skills you have, the higher your chances of the building wealth. 6. Be a little more greedy than others. Once you make enough money to pay all the bills, it's really difficult to motivate yourself to earn more. And I can say that from my personal experience. That drives you hunger, and you had the beginning slowly fades away as you get into the comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with that if you are satisfied with yourself. What else could you possibly want? But to achieve more than others, you have to be a little more greedy. Of course, too much greed isn't good because it can destroy you. But the desire to achieve more, bringing more value to the society, is the fundamental character. We are not talking about just businesses, but sports, academics, even games. And finally, take calculated risks. As a wise man said, Jim Rohn once said, if you are not willing to risk the unusual, you will have to settle for the ordinary. That's true. You will achieve nothing without taking some risks, but there is the huge difference between taking a risk by relying on the luck and taking the calculated risk. Let me give you an example. Whatever you invest in the stocks market, you are always risking your money. But before throwing your money, You can analyze the market and find out the most profitable stocks with the minimum risks. The companies you can be confident and aren't going to declare bankruptcy in the next day. Even if the stocks falls in the short run, the company overall valuations will grow. The same applies to everything else. You want to drop out to the college and start a business. Great, but how about figuring out what business you want to start first? Come up with the plan, then draw up. Or before borrowing money to start businesses, make sure your math is working. Yes, sometimes taking risky decisions to lead to the great outcomes, but often when they don't and might end up losing everything. There are the seven things that people who are often successful or wealthy have. Of course, not all of them, but most. And more of that you incorporate into your life, the higher your chances will be to be wealthier.